We have talked about all the fundamental rights: right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, right to freedom of religion, cultural and educational rights, right to constitutional remedies, and right to education. We also talked about right to property, which was deleted and later on made a legal right. Try to remember the articles which are covered by all the fundamental rights. Now, moving on to the next part of the Constitution, which keeps a check on arbitrary actions of the state to prevent the state from misusing its power and making absolute use of its power to to work not in the interests of the people. There are certain restrictions imposed which keep a check on the actions of the state. We see this Article 13, second point, it declares that all the laws and executive orders before the commencement of the Constitution, which were inconsistent with the fundamental rights, they are void to the extent of such inconsistency. This means that all the laws and rules which were in existence before the constitution came into force, before, for our independent India, our constitution makers, they framed the constitution, there were certain laws that were already operating. So after this constitution was made and these fundamental rights were granted to us, so it was decided, what if there were certain laws which are in existence and they do not comply with the fundamental rights? What if they are in some way violating the fundamental rights? So what should prevail? Would the fundamental rights prevail or would that law prevail? So it was decided that if there is any law which is in any way breaking the fundamental right, in that case that law will be declared void. It won't be considered, it is not to be taken into consideration. The fundamental rights will prevail, they have to be granted to everyone. So all the laws and executive orders before the coming of the constitution which were not consistent with the fundamental rights, that is, which did not comply, did not agree with the fundamental rights or were violating the fundamental rights in any way, they were considered null and void, not to be considered, to whatever part was not in consistency with the fundamental rights. This article 13, it calls for the judicial review of all legislations. All the laws need to be reviewed to be ensured that there is no such law which is interfering or violating the fundamental rights. All the laws should agree with the fundamental rights, should ensure that they are implementing the fundamental rights. However, in certain cases, in few exceptions, the state has the right to take away your fundamental rights for some time, like for the security of the state, for national interest, to protect the public. Sometimes the state might have to enforce a law which can take away your fundamental rights for some time, but that is only in certain exceptional conditions. Otherwise there is no law which should take away your fundamental rights. Now let us see what restrictions can be imposed on fundamental rights. We know we have been given fundamental rights. The fundamental rights are justiciable, that is, we can go to the court if we are being deprived of our fundamental rights. We can ask for us that why are we being deprived of our fundamental rights, we have to be granted our fundamental rights. But there are certain conditions in which our fundamental rights can be taken away by the state. Let us see what are those situations. First, our fundamental rights can be suspended when the president declares state of emergency. So if a president has declared emergency in our country, and when is that emergency declared? In case of there is a war, or there is external aggression by some foreign country, or there is an armed rebellion or civil war happening in the country. So keeping national interest in mind, an emergency could be declared by the president. In that case, your fundamental rights can be taken away. There can be curfew imposed, there could be freedom of speech expression taken away, freedom of movement taken away. So there are certain fundamental rights which can be taken away when there is emergency declared in the country by the president. Second, when your fundamental rights could be restricted is for the security of the state and national interest. So again, keeping the national interest, to protect the interests of the nation, to protect the people of the state, sometimes your fundamental rights can be taken away. The parliament can modify the rules making it not applicable on the members of, say, armed forces, police force, intelligence organizations. Their certain fundamental rights can be taken away. They do not have the right to, to freedom of speech and expression. They cannot comment on certain things. They cannot speak about. They can be kept at some place hidden. So there are certain restrictions which can be imposed, keeping the national interest or security of the state in mind. Then there are certain laws which also restrict the use of our fundamental rights. What are these certain laws? Like Maintenance of Internal Security Act, MISA. So in order to protect the security of a nation, certain when this act is imposed, then your fundamental rights could be taken away, and these are only issued in grave situation, when it demands national interest or very an emergency situation arises. Again, you have to learn the full forms. You can simply be asked what is the full form of MISA, or name any two laws which restrict the use of fundamental rights. So these are certain those laws: Maintenance of Internal Security Act, MISA; Defense of India Rules, DIR; Preventive Detention Act, PDA. We have already studied about Preventive Detention Act. Then there is National Security Act of 1980, NSA; and the Essential Services Maintenance Act, ESMA. So these are certain laws which also restrict our fundamental rights. So if you get question like what are the restrictions imposed on fundamental rights during emergency, they can be taken away. For the security of the state, national interest, they can be taken away. Certain laws, they restrict the use of our fundamental rights, like the Preventive Detention Act, National Security Act, and so on. Now, okay, we have talked about how, in what conditions our fundamental rights are restricted. But in what case are they totally suspended? When our fundamental rights stand suspended? When there is proclamation of emergency, when the president of our country declares state of emergency by this Article 352, then in that case, the legislature, the lawmaking body, is given the right to make any law. Executive has the liberty to take any action, enforce the law, even though it can take away your right to freedom of speech, expression, residence, profession. So in case there is an emergency declared by the president under Article 352, in that case your fundamental rights can stand suspended. You cannot move about freely. You cannot go and settle and reside in any part of the country. You cannot go on to comment and express your opinions freely. So in that case your fundamental rights stand suspended. Now, for how long will these fundamental rights be suspended? Till the time emergency lasts. If, say, for 1 month or 1 year or, say, 2 years, whatever duration the emergency lasts, for that amount of time, your fundamental rights could be suspended. During emergency, president may, by order, he may suspend the right to move the court. So again, not just your fundamental rights are taken away at that point of time, that right can also be taken away to go to the court and say why our fundamental rights are being taken away. So at that time you cannot go to the court and ask for that. If it is an emergency, your fundamental rights can be suspended, and so by order this right can also be taken away, which allows you to go to the court and implement them. So we see at this time even the High Court and Supreme Court cannot issue writs. So our fundamental rights can be suspended during when the emergency is declared by the president. And when is that declared? Under what conditions is the emergency declared? By war, armed rebellion, or external aggression. So we are clear about the fundamental rights, what all fundamental rights we have, what are the restrictions imposed on it, in what condition can they be suspended. Now, since we have been given this privilege to enjoy certain rights, there are certain fundamental duties as well imposed on us. Again, rights and duties, they are the two sides of the same coin. If you have been given certain privileges, you are expected to perform certain duties as well to become a responsible citizen. So our fundamental duties, they were added by the 42nd Amendment Act of 1976. Again, by which act were the fundamental duties added in our constitution? By the 42nd Amendment Act of 1976. They are contained in what part? Part 4 of our constitution. Remember, the fundamental rights are contained in part 3 of our constitution, and fundamental duties are contained in the part 4 of the constitution, and the article 51A of the constitution talks about our fundamental duties. So you can remember this. Parliament passed this 42nd Amendment Act of 1976, which gave us our 10 fundamental duties. So initially by this act we were given 10 fundamental duties. Later on, a 11th fundamental duty was added by the 86th Amendment Act of 2002. So by 42nd Amendment Act we were given 10 duties. Later on, 11th duty was added by the 86th Amendment Act of 2002. So let us talk about what are fundamental duties. We should be aware of our fundamental duties, and as a good citizen we should be performing our duties diligently. So let's talk about these duties. So first is to abide by the constitution. We have to follow the rules, laws which are given in the constitution, respect the ideals and the institutions. We have to respect the national flag, national anthem, the national emblem. Should have respect for them. To cherish and follow the noble ideals which inspired a national struggle for freedom. So we should never forget the struggle that the freedom fighters went through to get the freedom. So we should always cherish and follow the noble ideas of non-violence and all the ideas for which our struggle for freedom went through. Then we should strive to uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity and integrity of India. Our action should always try to protect the sovereignty. India is a sovereign country, that is, there can be no interference from any outside country. We are an independent country. So we have to work for maintaining its unity and its integrity. Then we should defend our country and render national service whenever called upon to do so. So whenever there is a situation which demands you to stand for your country, you should selflessly go and defend your country. To promote harmony and the spirit of common brotherhood amongst the people of India. So we should promote harmony and brotherhood. We should never give way to such differences based on religious ground, language we speak ground, or the region. No matter which religion you belong to, which region you come from, what language you speak, we all are Indians. We all are united. We all are brothers and sisters. So we should respect the diversity, and we should renounce practices derogatory to the dignity of women. We should respect women and not do anything which is an attack on their dignity. So we should protect the women. Then it is our duty as well to value and preserve the rich cultural heritage. So the monuments you visit, the places you visit, you should take care of the cultural heritage. You should respect these sites of cultural heritage, cause no harm, protect them, preserve them, and understand the importance at the same time. Then besides that, we should also strive to protect and improve the natural environment. We should protect the flora, the fauna, forest, lakes, rivers. We should not maintain clean rivers, clean spaces, and have compassion for living creatures, do no harm to them. So we should be compassionate towards our environment and other biotic and abiotic elements of our environment. Then another duty is to develop the scientific temper, humanism, spirit of inquiry and reform. What is scientific temper? Questioning. Do not just blindly accept things somebody has told you. Do not give in to superstitions and blind beliefs. Question things, look for logical reasoning, rational explanation behind things. Question things. Humanism. Give importance to humans. Why do they do certain things, their actions, their behavior? So it is being rational. That is what we should strive for. To safeguard public property and to abjure violence, we should not indulge in any form of violence. We should safeguard public property as if it's our own private property. Then to strive towards excellence in all spheres of individual collective activity. We should always strive towards excellence, take our nation to great heights, not just achieve individual excellence but also bring glory to our country, so our nation rises to higher levels of endeavor and achievement. And this last one, which was added by the 86th Amendment Act of 2002, We should provide opportunity for education. The parent, the guardian of the child should ensure that the child between the age of 6 to 14 is provided the right to education. The state also, and as an individual, it is our duty to ensure that if we see any child between the age of 6 to 14, we should ensure that he is getting this facility, he's availing this facility of getting free and compulsory education which is being provided by the state. So these are fundamental duties which are given under Article 51A. You need to learn this, you need to know this, you should be aware of your rights, and you ought to know about your fundamental duties as well. Now, what are the importance of fundamental duties? As to why were they introduced? Why did we even need these fundamental duties? One, to make the citizens aware of their social and economic obligations. They should be aware that if you are being given with certain rights, certain privileges, you also owe certain social and economic obligations, duty towards your country. If you are deriving so many benefits, you should also render service back to your nation socially and economically in every which way. So to make citizens aware of the social economic obligations or the duty towards the nation, to warn them to do and not to do certain things in the interest of the country, fellow citizens, to make the people aware, okay, these are certain things that you must do, you must, follow the constitution, protect the environment, you should cherish your, cultural rich heritage, preserve the rich cultural heritage, things that you should do and things that you should not do. You should not do any harm to public property, you should not indulge in any form of violence and all. So these are to warn what certain things you should be indulging in and what things you should not be. Then to protect and awaken the people to their cultural heritage, to make people realize the importance of the cultural heritage, the rich culture that we have been blessed with, how we should protect it, preserve it, understand its importance. So to make them aware of this, we have been given these fundamental duties. To tame the unruly elements in society, to ensure that there are no anti-social elements of the society indulging in wrong activities, so that they do not get away with saying, okay, we did not know that we are not supposed to act like that. You should be made aware. You have to protect the environment, you have to protect your archaeological sites, your monuments. You should not be careless when you are dealing with these. You should be made aware. So to tame them, to make them aware of the rules, these fundamental duties have been specifically given. To strengthen national harmony, again, to do away with any form of differences based on religion, linguistic grounds, regional grounds. We should promote unity, harmony, come together, stand united, and go on to defend our nation whenever called upon to do so. So that is the importance of fundamental duties, to make us realize this and make us responsible citizens who work for the development of our country.